guys, I am Tara Newell. For those that don't know me, I am best known for being the real life survivor of Dirty John. Today, I want to talk to you about my experience with doing a cold plunge. I'm not saying an ice plunge because I'm not quite there yet. I feel it's extremely important to regulate the body before you go into these extremes sometimes. And so I did a cold plunge probably around like 45 degrees. And I want to talk to you about my experience because I felt I wasn't expecting this when I did this exercise. I felt like I didn't expect to have this experience when I went in. So I want to give you a little back content to me. So recently, a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago now, a week and a half ago now. So I experienced a breakup. It was with someone I was with on and off for 6 months, but 2 months completely committed. And I kind of saw withdrawal, but I wanted to work on my communication and make things good, or see what the problem is and see if we could find a solution. So we weren't able to find a solution. That ended. And I kind of had to realize why I was in that relationship and what attracted me to that person. And I feel like it's extremely important to come to these realizations when you're healing and you've been in traumatic past relationships or experienced traumas or have been in just like those toxic, just bad relationships. I am a survivor of those. And unfortunately, because I saw my mom get into these relationships, that's why I chose these relationships personally, because you repeat patterns that you learn from your parents. And it's so important to come to these realizations because you have to have that awareness in your life that you are repeating certain patterns that you have learned from your parents, and you have learned those experiences because you were taught that and you were raised that way. So you need to have these realizations that, okay, sometimes my relationships might not be healthy. And we talk a little bit about maybe reparenting yourselves, but that's a later conversation. But for the ice plunge or the cold plunge, which I did, I went and I sat in this ice water about like 45 degrees for, I want to say, 15 minutes. And as I first got into this water, I felt this sensation of, kind of just like frightened. And I kind of had to sit with it for a minute. So I got in and I just breathed and I let me know that I am safe. I am safe here in this space. And I just breathed and I went with any emotions that came up. And what emotions came up to me was actually gave me flashbacks. And it gave me flashbacks of when I was little and when I used to jump into the pool with my grandma, and I would have that just sensation and just like be shocked for a minute. And those memories came back of my grandma, and they felt so important to me because they felt like I needed to connect to them and I needed to just sit and be with it and just come to an understanding. And so I started to breathe and I let these memories come up. And the realizations I've had in this ice tub or this cold plunge was that I wanted a figure like my grandma in my life. My grandma was fiery. My grandma was a little like blunt, My grandma, I want to say she was a fiery Irish woman in a sense, or just like, past European. And my grandma was a spitfire, and I felt that I chose this past relationship because I wanted a piece of my grandma in my life. And then as I went more into why these feelings are coming up, I started to have other feelings about, part of my dad, because this person was a fisherman and my father was a fisherman before and stuff, and a captain. So I was like, okay, that was part of the reason why I chose this part. And then my mom was a workaholic and this person was a workaholic. So I really connected all of the dots of why I was attracted to this person and why this relationship actually didn't work for me in the long run. I need someone that is going to be more nurturing, and that is okay to come to these realizations and just to realize why a relationship didn't work and why you chose it. I think it's extremely important to have that awareness so that you stop the cycles from happening in the future. And I'm sorry if there's so many raw emotions and this video kind of seems all over the place, but I'm coming into it with raw emotions. And I always want to be vulnerable for you guys. I always want to share my traumas and my healing, because I feel like sharing this experience will help someone else in the recovery. And this ice plunge, cold plunge helped me so much. And it was such an experience, and I had to breathe because now all these feelings are coming up that I had in the cold plunge. And now I have to breathe and let it sit and be aware of how my body feels. I feel pain in my shoulder from this. Why do I feel pain in my shoulder? So we got to breathe into that area and release that trauma. And I have a lot of traumas from my shoulder. So whenever I get stressed up, my shoulder becomes inflamed and there's lots of pain there. And that is from when you start to think about trauma, or your body gets into this fight or flight system. Your cortisol and your serotonin levels get out of whack. And when that happens, it actually sends your body to be inflamed, because it helps it's like a survival tactic in the wild. If you were to get hurt, your body kind of just it's a defense mechanism for your body, essentially. I'll explain a little bit more about it, but just my experience with cold plunge was there was a lot that came up, and it's so important to breathe through that. And trauma lives in the body, and so with the cold plunge, you really worked through my emotions with this past relationship and past traumas, why I was connected. And then I also worked with my body and how I felt. So we brought some somatic awareness to it. And it was so important to just live in that and be in that and have that experience. And I wanted to share that experience with you guys today. Try a cold plunge. Look up for your local places. There might be a holistic place that does it, or you could do it at your own house if you have a bath or something. I encourage you guys to try this exercise. I found it extremely important. People do it all the way up to 25 degrees, crazy stuff like that, but not crazy because I encourage it, but I just say, if you're gonna try it, I would start gradual. Well, I hope you enjoyed this today. Please share if you find it helpful, and until next time, guys.